everybody, it's Anne. I wanted to do a quick update today, which is Thursday, January 11th, 2018. I hope you guys are all doing great. Thought I would do a little sort of vlogging to keep things up to date so I quit forgetting stuff, which I seem to do frequently. Just wanted to show you what I've worked on the first 10 days of 2018. So you all had seen my Winter's Encounter, my Heaven and Earth Designs piece that was in my last video update, so I haven't worked on that anymore, but I have worked on two other things. The first of which is my very first finish and an actual FFO for 2018. And that is this cute little cushion. It is the February Wordplay by Brenda Gervais with a needle and thread. I stitched this on a 32 count linen from R&R Reproductions. It's the colorway Creme Brulee. And I stitched this one thread over two. The pattern calls for gentle arch threads, and I mostly used those and used the called for colors except for two. The first one was the red. So this is actually Classic Colorworks Cherry Cobbler. I didn't have the red that they called for, so I subbed in this one, which I think actually looks great. The other color is this very pale gold yellow that you see right there. And again, I substituted out the called for gas thread, and I used Heirloom Gold from Color and Cotton, which I had in stash. So I think this came out absolutely adorable. I backed it with this red and white striped ticking. I actually bought three colorways in this. I bought a red, I bought kind of a gray, and I bought a blue. So I'm going to use one of those colors, whatever kind of goes with the front, to fully finish all of these little cushions as I get them done, when I get them done. So that is that completely finished. Really happy with how it turned out. I love it. It is very adorable. So this will go out on my front hall table when February starts. So one down for my year of whips, Whipocalypse FOs. So since I'm working on a 5-day rotation right now, so the first 5 days of the month I worked on Winter's Encounter. The second 5 days of the month were slated for this little guy. So because I had this finished up and I had a couple of days left, I pulled out the next thing that's in my Year of Whips list. And that is this little pin cushion from Shepherd's Bush called Every Heart. That's what it's going to look like when it's finished. And here is where I am right now. See if I have a piece of paper to put behind this. There we go. So this was already started. I've worked on this flower. I finished the sheep and the eagle, who are both kind of halfway done. Finished the flag. Added in this little back stitching and these two motifs. And I finished the darker green in the bottom border. So this came with a kit. It has all the, there's 3 little buttons that go on it. There's one in the flag, and then there's 2 flowers up here. Excuse my hands. It's been so dry here, and I'm in high dyeing mode for my yarn store, so my hands just take a total beating, and so we have to do things like bright yellow Band-Aids. Anyway, so I finished this as well on this go round. So I don't have a ton left to do on this, but this will go away until February, which is when it's next slated to come out for a 5-day rotation, and I'm pretty sure I can get it finished in that time. So it came with the linen, which is a 32 count kind of natural colored linen. And then all of the floss needed to stitch it. And it also comes with a blue ribbon and this pack of pearl beads to do the little ruched edging, which I probably will do since I have all these beads to use for it. And you can see there's the buttons in there too. So that is where that guy stands. Again, this will come out in February, and I hope to have it finished then for another FFO. So a quick update on like rotation things and plan things. I am going to stick with my 5-day rotation for now. That seems to be working really great. But I think what I'm going to do is add a little bit of structure to where I work on my kind of focus piece, which currently is Winter's Encounter, every other week. So I'll work on that the 1st, the 3rd, and the 5th weeks of every month. And then, or let me rephrase that. I'll work on Winter's Encounter kind of the first 5 days, the middle 5 days, the last 5 days of every month. I'll have one 5-day period in there that I will work on my chatelaine. I'll have one 5-day period in there where I will work on a work in progress. And I will have one 5-day period in there where I will work on one of the other full coverage pieces that I'm working on for the stitch along in full coverage phonetics. I've also decided, kind of a la Jessie Marie, who loves to make herself rules, that I'm going to try to limit my new starts. I do have 2 planned new starts that were already on the books for this year. So those 2 are both full coverage pieces. Those 2 I will still start regardless because they were already planned and already in my my whip list, if you will. But what I've decided otherwise, because I do want to start some other new things, I actually went through my pattern list over the holidays and made a spreadsheet and kind of prioritized some things. So I know there's some other pieces I want to start. If I can finish 2 works in progress, then I'm going to let myself start another new one. So nothing new to start right off, but I do have one finish already, hoping for a second finish in February, which means that I hopefully can start something new end of February, beginning of March. So that'd be kind of fun. Little carrot. Sometimes we need carrots to help keep us motivated. But that's my current plan to do. And then last, but certainly not least, I wanted to share the gorgeous piece of fabric I got from Color and Cotton for my Fabric of the Month Club. This is 28 count Jobelin and the colorway is Oasis. And it is a gorgeous blue-green. Little bit washed out. It's slightly more saturated than it's showing up on the screen. But that's probably pretty close. So I have a thought about what I might want to do with this, but I need to see if I've got a big enough piece. It's 17 by 26, so maybe is the answer to that, but we'll see. I found it's another Heaven and Earth design, but it is not full coverage in that it does not have a background, but it's still full size, so I'm not sure if this will be enough, but I will look and see if perhaps it might fit, because I think it would be perfect on this. Okay, that is it. Fast, quick, easy, less than 10 minutes. I will join this with some other stuff later on in the month, combine those together, but next time you see me will be a different day later on in January. So until I talk to you guys then, happy stitching. Hi everyone, it's Anne and welcome back to my Flosstube channel. Today is Sunday, January 21st, 2017. I hope everybody is doing great. I thought I'd better pop in for a quick update before the month got too far away from me. Filming in a slightly different configuration in this room because we've got some storm clouds. We had some like a dusting of snow overnight. Not anywhere close to what we need, but we'll take what we can get this time of the year. We're headed into the dry, windy season that the worse it is, the worse fire season is, so we really could use a lot of snow, and we don't have really any. But anyway, the light is kind of coming in underneath the clouds, and it was creating a really funny glare over in the other side of the room, so kind of tilted some stuff around and thought I would just get this taken care of before the weekend got away from me. Let's see, kind of crazy busy here. If you follow my other yarn-oriented videos, you know that I am in the midst of prepping for Stitches West for my business. It's crazy. It's just crazy. I am not going to be here next weekend, and so this weekend I was like, you just got to suck it up, Buttercup, and go stand in the studio and work. So it's about 2 o'clock here on Sunday. I got up at 6 and worked and did the same thing yesterday. So I got a fair amount done. Made me feel better about not being here next weekend because I really only have 2 other weekends to sneak in some extra beyond my normal hours in the dye room. So working away on that. Let's see what else. Just normal stuff around here, really. One of the things that I am trying to do is sort of a me sort of thing, because for those of you who own your own business, you'll understand this statement. You feel like, and a lot of people think, that you have tons and tons of time on your hands, right? You can, how great it is, you can be your own boss, you can schedule stuff to happen whenever you want it to, but the reality is that most of the time you never work an 8-hour day. It's very rare for me to do that, and it's usually only like there's a couple of months or a couple of weeks in the middle of the summer months that are quiet that I feel like I could justify that. The rest of the time, I usually have 10, sometimes 12-hour days, sometimes 15. I try not to do those. But anyway, one of the things that I'm trying to do is sort of a personal New Year's resolution is to try to take some time for myself to just book that into my schedule like I would book anything else. And so I am getting up in the mornings, and after I get the dog out and kind of get her fed and settled, I'm giving myself 20 minutes to do some yoga. And then I'm trying to set aside half an hour to 40 minutes a day to go for a run during the weekdays, a little bit longer on the weekends, figuring an hour of time to myself to do those sort of things is something that, you know, I just need to have on my schedule. And so that's been working really pretty well, frankly. Not this past summer, but the previous summer, I had some surgery, and since the surgery, my back has not been the same. It was not back surgery, but the back issues are, I guess, fallout from the abdominal surgery. To the point that if I want to sit and stitch, I have to do something that stretches my back out in other parts of the day. So I found running's really helpful. The yoga made a huge difference. The practice I did this morning was amazing. I could feel stuff popping back into place in my lower back. So I feel like that's a really important thing to do. I've given up all my other sitting during the day. I actually have converted my desk into a stand-up desk, and I stand up in my studio all day. So the only time I sit is when I sit to eat and making Flosstube videos, and then in the evenings when I'm trying to do crafty things. And if my back is bad enough that I can't sit, then I stand up and do it. So I feel like that hour is really, really important to keep everything kind of on the straight and narrow path. You know, it's gotten rid of all the weird falling, like I would get pins and needles in my leg if I sat too long, and then it would just go completely numb. So it's corrected a lot of that, but I have to keep up with it. So I took the dog out. I did my yoga this morning, worked for a while in the shop, and then I took the dog out thinking it had warmed up, and it's about 32 degrees Fahrenheit here today. But we have a wind out of the northwest. I had on a long sleeve t-shirt, a lightweight fleece, like quarter zip, a fleece vest, my Michelin Tire Man down puffy coat, wool hat, gloves, thermal leggings, and it was still cold at certain points. We turned into the wind out of the caldera that's to the northwest of us. Wow, it was nippy. So I came home, took a hot shower, and thought, perfect, I'll just do Flosstube. So here we are, 6 minutes in. I have blithered long enough about that. Talk about what I've been working on. I got a page finish and a little bit on my Winter's Encounter. This is my Heaven and Earth design piece, artwork by Linda Prindle. This is the bottom of the first page and the side of the first page, and then I have started page 2. It comes down to about here. So there's really like one other page, and I think maybe another 100 blocks. But I am in love with this. This is so me. The colors are so me. Obviously, the picture of the horse, all good. So made some really excellent progress on that, and I met one of my my personal year of WIP goals, which was to have a page finish on this project. So I've put this one aside for a bit. I do want to get back to it as kind of a focus piece this year, but like I said, one of my goals was to get page finishes on the Hades that I've got going, and so I'm going to need to devote some time to some other ones. And I will talk about that in a minute. The next thing that I worked on was my chatelaine. This is the Desert Mandala. I am stitching this on a 28 count Lugana in the colorway Calypso, which is from Picture This Plus, using the called for DMC and silk. Obviously I have finished the centerpiece. I am working on the cactus. I basically stitched from here all the way over to here, and this guy's done too. But the saguaro, sagebrush, and then prickly pear and barrel cactus, that's basically 1/4. So I have 2 of the quarters pretty much done, and I've started on the next. So I'm about halfway. I do not have the little sparkly prickers done on this prickly pear cactus, but I do down there. You can see the petite treasure braid sparkling down there. Loving this. This section is almost all silks. The only ones that are not, there's some of the yellow and the orange blossoms. So I will go into more depth in this. My plan is right around the 1st of February to film a Chatelaine's Diaries video and talk about the different silks in here. Excuse my dire fingernails. And talk about the specialty stitches, because there are 2 specialty stitches, I guess technically 3, in this piece so far in the cactus. So really enjoying this. This is at the point I will move the frame down, so I'll be working on the upper half. And my plan is to move the scroll frame and then work this way up. So I'll probably finish up around this way, finish the cactus, and then start the next clue, which is a band of specialty stitches that frames the cactus in a kind of an octagon shape and start that up here at the top and then just work on the top half until I get that finished, rather than keep scrolling back and forth. All right, so that is where I am on that. Like I said, a little bit more detail to come in a Chatelaine Diaries recording, which I will do in a week and a little bit. Okay, what I'm working on now is another Heaven and Earth design. I have pulled out 6 of Swords. This will be counting for the Air Elementals Stitch Along in Full Coverage Fanatics. As well as January's theme of fantasy. It also has a lot of gray in it, but now I just loaded this up on my stand, so I opted not to wrestle it out and drag it up here to record, but that is what it's going to look like. And really right now, I just had the first like 800 stitches done. It wasn't a ton. I started this fall. So my plan is to work on this through the end of the month. I kind of have all of my other things checked off that I wanted to either get finished or get worked on this month. So this piece is kind of what I have left to work on. Which I guess brings me to my plans. Now, obviously, like I said, I'm going to work on this for the rest of the month. Online, I found a great set of stitching tracker PDF sheets you could print out for yourself. One of which is a just project tracker, so it's by month and then it's got all the dates and you just check off, you know, today I worked on X. There's another one in the group that is, you can write down specifically the number of stitches. This one is one that I printed out for January, and this is my February version of it, which I have found really, really helpful because it is helping keep me on focused task. I do really great when I have a list of things to work on. Like I can check stuff off as I go. And this does that for me. So you can see that I set a couple of goals for February. Finish the Every Heart pincushion and finish a page on 6 of Swords. So the other things then that I want to work on this month, upcoming in February, obviously 6 of Swords and the Every Heart pincushion. Then I'll have 5 days on the Desert Mandala you just saw, and I'll put in at least 5 days on Winter's Encounter. But my focus for at least for full coverage is going to be the 6 of Swords project. And I am going to try for a page finish on that. If by some crazy miracle, because February is the month that I go to California for almost a week to do Stitches West, so it's a short month and I'm going to be on travel for 6 of the 28 days. If by some magic thing I get done the page of 6 of Swords, I will revert back to Winter's Encounter. What else was I going to say about this? I don't think anything else. Okay. Super helpful. I plan to put one of these together every month. One of the other things that I've done as part of kind of my ongoing list making planning stuff, I went through and I think got an updated pulled together list on my spreadsheets that's kind of a master patterns that I have that could be started, not necessarily kitted up, but that I have, you know, in hand, not just something that's on a wish list. And I went through and I divided them into categories. So I've got kits, I've got smalls, I've got mediums, I've got Heaven and Earth designs or full coverage projects, things that fall into the big ass project, full coverage category. Did I say mediums? I think. And then there's one that's like chatelaines and long dog sampler type things that are not technically full coverage, but they're epic type projects. And I went through and I picked some priorities on those. Things that I would like to try to start this year if I can get enough finishes to kind of credit myself do that. So my goal is to, for every 2 finishes, not just page finishes, for every 2 finishes, I'm going to let myself start something new. The biggest problem with this list is, I mean, even prioritizing things, there's probably 8 or 10 things that I would put on the short list. So when I get to the point that I'm ready to actually get started on something, unless there's a specific stitch along or something that I want to start that I'm like, oh, that project fits that theme perfectly, I'm either going to random number generate it, or I may do a quick poll sample, do a Flosstube tidbit about that and say, hey, you know, what would you guys pick, and let y'all pick the project. Because they're not just other smalls, and you know that I have a ton of large projects that I'm working on. I mean, just the 3 that I've shown you here are they're all big projects. So I'm trying to, you know, figure out how to still get things done and like feel like I'm being successful with that. But at the same time, you know, I don't think it's realistic to say, oh, I'm not going to start anything else new. I'm just not. You know, I have 2 planned new starts of some full coverage projects this calendar year, River's Edge and Gypsy Firefly. So I already have 2 more monster projects that I'm putting on my plate, which makes me a little hesitant to say, oh yeah, I'm going to do another, you know, multiple page project. But at the same time, that's what I tend to like. So it's kind of hard to say, no, I'm definitely not going to do that. Obviously, I'm very conflicted is the short version of this. So I may ask for y'all's help to help me suss out what I want to do next and figure out what the next project on the list is. I had kind of a moment this weekend where I thought, you know, it'd be really nice. I should just be a monogamous stitcher. I should just take like 1 project out, and that should be the only project I work on till it's done. And then what a sense of accomplishment it'll be, and I'll get down to just a couple, you know, actual works in progress, maybe 1 small and 1 large, or at the most 3, like a small, medium, large type project. I don't think that's ever going to happen. I still would like to have less than I have now, which I know, comparatively speaking, is not a ton. I think I'm down to, I think I have 17 active whips. Let's find out. The cross stitch app will tell you. Currently I have 17 projects started. Now of those, 2, 3, 4, 5, at least half of them are fairly intensive, fairly large projects. So I think that's it. I think that's it for my check-in. Kind of rambly today. Guess I'm just in that kind of a mood. So you guys get to listen to me blither on here for 20 minutes. I'm going to combine this with one that I filmed previously that showed you some of the other small things that I had been working on and my finish, my February wordplay finish. So I think that's going to be it for me today. I will be back early February to check in with you guys again. I hope y'all are having a really great January so far. Lots of stitchy time. If you're somewhere that's been hit with a lot of bad weather, either extra warm or extra cold, depending on which end of the globe you're in, I hope you've been able to still enjoy the weather and time doing the things you love. So until next time I talk to you guys, have a great stitching couple of weeks. Bye.